Whilst the high banks of Daytona might be recognized as being the start of the American Endurance Series, it is Sebring that is known as the Cathedral of Speed after you leave Daytona. This is Sebring. It's fast, it's furious, it's a track that drivers love and hate all in one go because it is so hard and it's so testing, and it's our final 75-minute race of the season. And we've seen before, those 15 minutes mean oh so much at the end. Welcome to RaceSpot TV Primetime. It's Wednesday night, it's ProtoGT, and we will kick off next.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun, but there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Primetime here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live, and welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Qualifying has just completed here for this evening's event, and it'll give us the opportunity immediately to go and have a look at your starting grid. Starting with the prototype class, we have ourselves Patrick Wolf on the front row. Marcus Hamilton joined alongside him, but almost 4/10 of a second back. Dimitri Matos even in the third place. Ronnie Durig in 4th. There's remainder of your prototype field. I say remainder, as ever, the prototype field is our largest here today. Cycling itself through your screen now. 17 drivers in your prototype field. And then we head ourselves next over to your GT1 field. Jürgen Frank leading the way from Kevin Siggy. About 1/10.5, 2/10 separating those two drivers. Top 3 drivers are Aston Martin's, Ren's Broken and a Corvette is in 4. And there's remainder of your GT1 field. 9 cars here this evening. And then finally it'll be time to look at your GT2 field. Eduardo Prado leading the way there. Karen Kloppman in 2nd, Nick Thisson in 3rd. And Maximilian Schieder in P number 4. Big gap there between Prado and the rest of the field. Look at that one. That's a good 7/10 almost there between those drivers. Prado in a league of his own as the guys start to pick up pace now. 6 qualifications in GT2. 2 drivers didn't set a time. Your field then starting to roll off behind the iRacing first safety car. Getting set to go racing for 75 minutes this evening. Let's take you on board with some drivers. Here are the drivers then, heading themselves down the Ullman straightaway. Getting ready to go racing for 75 minutes here today. Round number 8 of the ProtoGT series. Pace car is going to make the journey on towards pit road. That means the field goes in the command of your prototype field. 2 by 2 they are. 14 picks up the pace. Green flag in the air. Here we go. 75 minutes worth of racing. Clockman to the top then of your GT2 field. There is the number 9 machine with the advantage early on. 7/10 of a second over Eduardo Brado. Everyone has survived the first couple of moments okay overall. Just want to have a look at this then. This is out the final corner. Got it right. It looks as though Prado might have got it a bit wrong as they headed towards the start-finish line. Let's get one more look if we can. You can see Prado there in the number 11 machine. Number 9 car gets a much better run, it looks, out of that final corner as they headed towards the start-finish line. Indeed, there we are at the start of this one. Zoom in on the number 9 machine, taking himself the early advantage, but out front in prototype, end of lap number 1. Patrick Wolf is going to lead over Marcus Hamilton as they work themselves past the stripe for the first time here this evening. Apologies there. There we are. Let's get what you wanted up there. Ticker is now rolling along the top of your screen. You can get social with us. /RaceBot.TV at RaceBot.TV on Twitter. Jürgen Frank completes lap number 1 in the lead of class there over Dustin Hickman. 7/10 of a second there. Seeing those guys, they circulate through onto their second lap of this event. Hickman to Ziggy, by the way, very close. 1/10 of a second, Ziggy looking down to the inside. It pretty much is holding it up for these sequence of corners. And can Ziggy get himself a good run out of this section? The answer is yes, he can. It means that Hickman is down into 3rd, move Kevin Ziggy up into 2nd place. Ziggy looking for a good finish here. He's had some issues. But Ziggy 1.5 back already from Jürgen Frank. After a lap and a little bit done here. Got some very close battle going on in your prototype field. There we can see them there going side by side. This is fantastic stuff. 22 there of David Caroni, 21 of Ronnie Durig. On board with Durig there, they were side by side on the run down into the sweeps before LeMans corner. Durig losing out once, he's going to lose out again actually, because right behind him they are stacked up Trulli style. Leonard Raha, Diego Comini, Gregory Tanton are all there. They're heading towards Sunset Bend for their second time. Big lunge there by Comini. He's going to move himself forward, but that was a brave one by Diego Comini, and it's not over between these guys yet as we go on board with Diego Comini. He's got a car behind him as they come down in towards turn number 1 for another time in this one. This deserves a second look. The braveness there of Diego Comini. We're on board of him. Almond straight away towards Sunset Bend. We're only 5 minutes into this event. Look at how late Comini is able to swing this around. Gets 1, gets 2. How they avoided contact, I do not know. Comini moves himself up 2 places, 1 corner. down at Sunset Bend, the corner with 1,000 lines, as it's known in motor racing. Back into GT2 for the moment. And Nick Thisman right now over Eduardo Prado, P number 2 on track. Standing at about 6 tenths of a second, but Thisman has got Sheeda right behind him right now, 3 tenths of a second. Working through turns 3, 4, and 5 once again. Further up your field, let's go back to GT2. Siggy is already trying to close in over Jürgen Frank. Last time by, he was slower because, of course, he was passing. But he's gained about 4 or 5 tenths of a second already on this lap, in towards 14, 15, 16. LeMans corner, turn number 16, over that curb. We've got an issue to a driver. Benjamin Gonzalez has had a crash. He is on pit road. We'll see how bad it is. It looks though he's out for the day for the driver of Benjamin Gonzalez. Let's see what we can see here for the number 26 machine. It's a fast left-right sweep. And, oh, he's going to catch a curb. He doesn't. He just slides it around all by himself. This Gonzalez tags the right, the left rear even. And from then, it is all about game over for him. He's on pit road. That's the end of his day. We'll go back to see some more cars out front. Patrick Wolf. We're on board of him right now. Number 14. As he heads himself through this fast sequence of corners. That's right on board. And you just see how fast this is for him right now. Out of LeMans and down towards Sunset Bend. Let's just stay on board. We'll show you the speed graphic even up for him. And Patrick Wolf then up to 165 miles an hour on the running towards Sunset Bend. Incredibly fast stuff by him. He's currently leading the way over Marcus Hamilton by about 1.7 seconds as it stands right now. Prado versus Nick Thisman. This one is going to continue. Prado, last time by 2 minutes, 0.725. Nick Thisman, 2.5 of a tenth of a second faster. They go through the slow corners of turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, in towards that long right-hander for turn number 6 now. Says that's a completely wrong side of the racetrack. That was down at turns 11, 12. So apologies for that one, but this is, regardless, is still half a second behind right now. Hickman is behind Siggy. Siggy's fallen back a little bit that last lap. Hickman back to within half a second. We go on board of him in towards that first corner. The reason why is, well, Siggy did a 155.512. Hickman just tagging the wall a little bit there on the inside of turn number 1. 2 SimRC.de cars towards the front of your field. That is the other one, Jürgen Frank. And of course, we got ourselves a SimRC.de car in GT2 as well. That is Sheeda in that one. But so far in your event today, let's have a look at your movers and shakers. Well, not much in your prototype field. Lebanese up 1 position, David Peroni is up 2. Ronnie Durridge, your biggest sufferer. We saw the whole mishmash that went on lap number 2 of this event. Comedy up into 7th place right now. He made that fantastic move as we cycle it on backwards a little bit. Carlos Villegas is your biggest loser overall in your prototype field. But then you look down into your GT1 field. Sebastian Alonso, what a start he's had to this motor race. He runs himself in P number 4, just ahead of Renz Broken. We'll talk about Broken in a couple of moments' time. Broken's in P number 5 right now. in some ways just looking to finish this motor race more than anything else. And then in the world of GT2, there we are. Button up one, Proto down one. You saw that at the very start of this event. Just with great neck up one, your speeder is down one. And Patrick Wolf still leads the way here. Built up that gap to 3.1 seconds over Marcus Hamilton as he works himself through turn 4. No, he doesn't. That's the second time I got that wrong. That is the east end of the racetrack, so it's going to come now down in towards sector number 3. Good evening, Cam Wolf.
Hello. You know how those prototype cars, they have 2 seats?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, make some elbow room here, because we're gonna need some more people here. Hello, it's Sebring. The sun's going down. This is weird.
It is. We're only 10 minutes into this motor race as well. Patrick Wolf gets a tiny bit of a wiggle on the exit of LeMans Ben. 2.9 seconds as a gap over himself and Marcus Hamilton. Best battle going on in your prototype field is this technically 5-car battle we've got going on. Bennett Rahart and currently in the 8th position alone. Gregory Tanton and Andrew Carl in 9th and 10th. They are your 2 closest drivers on track right now. But you say that, Cam, you look down the, well, basically that Ullman straightaway, and there isn't really much in terms of gaps at all yet.
No, not at all. And just looking through between that, they're all going through Sunset Bend right now, going through one car that's lap traffic. I believe that would be one of the GT cars. But yeah, the prototype field all still nice and tidy. As just looking back a little ways to Gregory Tanson, the number 10 car, he is getting very hotly pursued by Andrew Call, that number 5 prototype. The Australian is there winging their way around Charles Weibow, that number 34 for GT. But yeah, they're making their way through here. Of course, it's Sebring getting some early laps, and of course, for the 12 hours, which I'm sure will probably be coming, what, next month? I lose track of the dates, but really, I mean, it's never a bad time when you get to race at Sebring. That's how lovely of a circuit it is.
Yeah, 5 weeks until the 12 hours of Sebring, which will be here on Race1 TV, streaming live on iRacing Live as ever, all 12 hours here. One network bringing you wall-to-wall coverage. David Taranto, Jorgen Wolby. In terms of your GT1 battle, 5 tenths per second separates these 2 drivers. Last time by, Wolby 4 tenths faster than Taranto. The time before that, Taranto 4 tenths faster than Wolby. So this one seems to be that classic you go faster, I go faster battle, Cam. Not much movement yet, but they have also got they've actually got Leonardo Corti there in that mix as well, so it's a 3-car battle now.
Well, that it is, as of course you've got your Corvettes and your Aston Martins. I think I only see the one Corvette, and of course, unsurprisingly, that's Rens Broekman in the Coanda car. But yes, this Jorgen Wolby, Leonardo Corti battle with as they're pursuing. Oh, and hey, look, another Corvette, the Semitalk David Soranzo car. It's a nice little group you've got here. Is that Corvette? Well, it's going to be an interesting battle because that Aston Martin can probably pull alongside, going through more of the big sweepers. But that Corvette's going to have a better acceleration off the corner, so I think is one of those things. You know, if you're going to have a multi-class battle, well, they might as well be different kinds of cars.
Indeed so. As your overall leader, Patrick Wolf, now starts to negotiate the front of your GT2 traffic. Pros and cons on this racetrack really is, Cam, in some ways. It's easier to pass than other tracks. The issue is, because the field spreads out very quickly here, it means after about now, you're not going to get a clean lap for the remainder of this event.
No, and as the prototype cars, they're actually really bringing their way through. This is going to be the closest that these 4 GTs are going to be all race long here. Of course, this hour and 15-minute long event. Patrick Wolf, he's cleared the GT2 traffic. He'll probably have another lap, maybe another lap and a half before he starts getting the GT1 cars. But for drivers like Cohen Klopman, Eduardo Prado, Nick Thyssen, and Maximilian Scheider, I mean, you've really got to, this is the one lap where you've really got to hold on to those knuckles, because you've got that huge 17-car prototype field. They're all going to be wanting to get by. It does look, though, Will, like they're going to be catching them mostly on the Ullman Straight and then the run down to corner number 1, and that's very important because that first sector going through Big Bend 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it is awful as far as multi-class traffic goes.
Indeed, you want to catch them early. In fact, if you're a driver in your GT2 field, it might be worth dabbing on the brakes, just letting them go past, because you lose more time having to play defense, having to look in your rear mirror. As you can see there, the swarm of GT2 versus prototype cars are not fighting for position, they're just fighting for some track space. As I think 1 or 2 drivers are going to struggle. In fact, there's going to be a huge bottleneck around here. They're all swarming now to try and get past the GT2 car. Dennis Carisi just about does so, but Carlo Nabatti, let's go on board of him, and we'll show you the gap. It was 1.1 seconds at the start of that sequence. Actually, I say that, he doesn't lose that much, but it's still noticeable how much he lost in one corner there. Some of the guys behind were far more unlucky. The likes of Ribolo, for example, really was struggling. Number 28 car.
Well, he's not issues per se. There was 2 wide action running behind some of the GT2 traffic. We're actually seeing 2 of those separate groups right now. We're seeing some of the cars getting on the headlights, Will, but this is just as I was talking about. It was almost mistimed by about half of a lap. This is probably the worst of the worst as far as catching a big, huge train of GT2 cars. Seeing some of these Ford GTs, they're trying to cover their corners here, but you've got a massive train of prototype cars going basically from car number 21, Ronnie Durig, back, a massive train of prototype cars all trying to pass each other as your lead, not your leader, but one of your cars, Nick Thyssen, he just gets clocked by the Gecko Vortex car of Dennis Garis.
Yeah, and let's see how much damage that gives to the driver of Nick Thyssen. He's got front right damage, so passenger right hand side damage there to that car. How bad it's going to be, we're not going to know just yet. We'll get ourselves a replay on board with the driver of Nick Thyssen. Just look at the cars swarming around him as he works himself toward these 2 fast sweeping left-handers before essentially the LeMans chicane. You see they're going too wide ahead of him, just turning into the corner, and there we are, just being moved a little bit there once, and there's the big hit there. So what happened was really Thyssen, he'd already been moved out of the way once, trying to come back on, and that's when the big contact happened.
Yeah, once you start getting pushed off, you risk really running, and he actually could have pushed that entire section wide. I mean, it's a fairly easy one to do. You do get a marshaled time penalty that you have to give back, which is a bit damaging going down the Ullman Straight, but, you know, it's going to be a little bit more damaging over the course of the day, having that right front damage, and of course for Dennis Garis, he's got that left rear damage. Doesn't seem to be really slowing him down as he's chasing Carlo Labate. But as they go through the chicane, once again, your leaders, your Cohen Klopman and your Eduardo Prado, are currently still having to deal with this prototype traffic. 1 full lap after they started to go through, Julian Ribelau and Xavier Sanchez are working their way through, as well as Francisco Gonzalez. And actually, 1 car goes off, Andrew Kahn.
Yeah, and also, it was worth noting a moment ago, Eduardo Prado actually got alongside the driver of Cohen Klopman. And it's worth noting that Prado was actually very good for this traffic, was the lead earlier on, and Klopman had built up a bit of an advantage that came down very, very quickly though, as Prado was better negotiating some of that traffic. He lost out a little bit that time as they head themselves through Le Mans corner one more time, turn number 16 on this racetrack. But in terms of your GT1 field, Siggy's back down into 3rd place. He moved himself up at the start of this one, but Siggy's early pace seems to have deteriorated a little bit there, as all of a sudden he is now down into that 3rd place, about 4 tenths of a second behind your number 2 driver now of Dustin Hickman. Very hard, by the way, had an incident with the number 5 of Kyle, and that is at the exit of the hairpin. We saw some of the back end of that one. In fact, Andrew Kyle is now on pit road as a consequence. So Kyle's day is not going that well right now. There's the back end of that accident. We just see getting the Logitech number 5 machine off the racetrack. You say that, he doesn't actually. That's a very unsafe rejoin onto track. We'll get yourselves one more look on board of him. And he had himself there, number 28 machine alongside. And he just runs a little bit wide to start this chain reaction off. Comes back out onto a track. And then he has the incident with the number 28 machine. From there on in, Carl, well, he just goes from bad to worse for him. Brings that car back on. In fact, that was your top 2 GT2 drivers that had to completely swerve out the way, Cam.
Absolutely, and of course I had the wrong turn. That seems to be a theme here, not getting the right corner name. But yeah, a bunch of cars had to take to the dirt, but thankfully everybody actually managed to work their way through. That's impressive in its own right when you consider how tight Sebring is in some sections, especially there, going through 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. But either way, looking through right now, Dennis Garis with that damages got a prototype car of Xavier Sanchez on the inside. He actually managed to make the entire pass through. I wonder perhaps if Garis's top speed has been reduced due to his incident with the GT car. But as far as where the prototypes are, they're working their way right through right now the GT1 traffic.
And it's worth noting actually, Cam, that they were very close until they got up to GT2 traffic, and now that field has opened up dramatically. It'll be very interesting to see what happens now. They're cycling through GT2 traffic, sorry, GT1 traffic, because that might see this prototype field just stretch out a little bit more.
Well, we certainly might. Just looking right now, it seems to be a bit strong. You've got Patrick Wolff. He's got about a 4-second lead over Marcus Hamilton, who's got about another 3-second lead over Dimitri Di Matos, and then Johan Lapanisi. Then you've got the 22 and the 10, and that's really that 10 car, that Gregory Tansen car. That's when you pick up the prototype field once again. You've got Gregory Tansen and Diego Comuni. And then you've just got a long train of prototypes once again. So once this train of prototypes comes with the GT1 cars, we're going to see more of that traffic, and of course, going to be a little bit more difficult. But just looking right now at the GT1 leader of the car number 4, Jürgen Frank, he is going around one of the GT2 leaders, and he is now working his way through. Actually, it's not one of the GT2 leaders, as that's actually the first GT2 car slower. But so the GT1 traffic on their own are going to have to deal with GT2 traffic, and that's even more stressful.
Frank right now has himself an advantage of 3 seconds over Dustin Hickman, starting to really stretch his legs. But it is SimRC.de versus SimRC.de right now. Kevin Siggy runs himself in the 3rd place, when Brokeman runs himself in 4th, although Brokeman has had a recent incident. Once again, Rens Brokeman seems to be struggling here. There is Brokeman. And he's had something happen to him in the last minute or so, because he's only at the, if I remember correctly, he's about halfway through this lap. We're going to cycle on back and see what we can find for Rens Brokeman. But this is the 3rd race in a row now we've had something happen to him, Cam.
Well, just looking back at that Rens Brokeman piloted Coanda Corvette, the laps look fairly clean. I've looked through the last 2. I'm not quite sure if anything's... Yeah, must have... Well, looking at his straight-up lap times, he's been hitting 155s almost the entire race before he's dipped down the last 2 laps, almost a full second off to 156s. So I don't know, perhaps they've gone with a bit of an aggressive setup and are perhaps using those rears slightly more, or perhaps they were just they wanted to figure out, perhaps do a nice run here in the ProtoGT series with that Corvette, seeing what it could do with different conditions. Looking at the weather, it should be pretty fair weather for the tires. 78 degrees Fahrenheit on the in the air, 82 on the track. So it's not bad racing conditions.
It's not. It's not bad racing conditions even more if you're a GT2 driver. Because Eduardo Prado is still there, right behind Corin Cotman. These guys are separated by 0.3 of a second right now. Prado to Thyssen. Worth noting, last time by Thyssen faster, albeit only by about 1/3 of a second, than both Cotman and Prado. And the same can apply for Maximo Nishida and also Michael Thomas. So, as it stands right now, your top 4 in GT2 are starting to close up a little bit.
Well, it is, and I'm surprised Nick Thyssen, with that little bit of damage, is able to continually bring on down. And Maximilian Scheider, I mean, his fastest lap of the entire race was the lap before last. So just looking here at this GT2 battle, this might be very exciting, and I can only imagine, hopefully that won't get too separated once the GT1 traffic gets through. Looking at my map provided, that, you know what, that shouldn't happen for quite a while yet still, so we're definitely going to have a good battle. Eduardo Prado, though, good exit off of corner number 17, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything with it, going to the inside into one.
Meanwhile, let's go back on board then with your overall race leader. This is Patrick Wolf in the number 14 machine. Let's ride a lap on board with Patrick Wolf in towards Sunset Bend. He comes. Racebot TV fan immersion coming up. Have still got a battle in GT2. Colin Glockman and Eduardo Prado is calmed down a little bit. Also, to let you know, we've had the driver of Michael Thomas go around in the number 31 car. So he's our latest victim of the day. There we can see him in the number 31 machine. Another victim of that difficult portion of the racetrack. Prado versus Glockman seems not to want to slow down at all, Cam.
Yeah, no, not at all. We got to remember, Sebring, it is certainly an ancient circuit as far as the track surface goes. They don't really like to repave it. They don't really need to repave it. It's Florida. I mean, it's not like you have to deal with the weather, but then you've got what ends up happening is you get these amazing battles like with the GT2 lead right now. They actually have that Evolution Racing Australia car of Andrew Call, that number 5 prototype that was in the incident earlier. He's now made his way through, but yes, that battle between Kloppman and Prado, that last lap previous, they went side by side basically from corner 2 all the way to the hairpin, and very heads-up driving from both drivers, very respectful driving, and hopefully these guys can get back to blows fairly soon. Not literal blows, metaphorical blows.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. There you can see your top 8 on each of your classes just cycling down at the bottom of your screen. GT1, not much battling going on at all right now. We have just got the driver on. We're going on board with very quickly, by the way. Then your little Wallaby has got David Toronto just ahead of him on track as it stands. About 1 second separate those two drivers. Sheeta's caught right up to the rear now of Nick Thiessen in your GT2 battle. So that one's down to about half a second. So two fabulous battles going on in GT2. They are literally setting the pace in terms of the entertainment factor.
Yeah, and that's no surprise. They knew that I was going to be here, so the Fords always like to put on a good show. Clearly, that being the only reason at all, completely, as, of course, the Ford GT2, an amazing vehicle. As Patrick Wolf, he dives to the driver left, going out of the corner of 7 through Fangio to Cunningham, so he'll clear them both before Cunningham, though that does expose Kloppman a little bit to Eduardo Prado. I wouldn't be surprised if Prado gets a good exit coming off of corner number 10, going through 11. He should be able to trail through, and if he's smart, he can go to the inside here in the tower, but he's probably going to be respectful. He's going to hang it to the outside, and he's going to look for a better exit through corner number 13. Thanks, Leo. Great. That's fantastic. That's another broken glass chucked up to the cat as Marcus Hamilton makes his way through.
Right now, Cam's going to be walking on broken glass, and Eduardo Prado gets his best run in a while. Moves himself to the outside. Go back on board of him into the Le Mans corner. A much better run. Here comes Prado then. Side by side for your race lead. In towards Sunset Bend. You can get the advantage on the outside there if you want to. And Prado is going to try it. Kloppman's holding the ultra inside line as they head themselves out. Who's going to have the advantage out of this corner for the moment? It's going to be Kloppman. But now here comes Prado once again to the outside in towards turn number 1. And this time around, it's going to be the driver of Kloppman who should be able to hold it in the outside. But Prado's going round the long way away. He will now have to try and get the advantage. He does get the advantage. Move Eduardo Prado to the race lead, and then being turned around by a prototype car.
That prototype car came in way too hot. Dimitri Di Matos, that number 30 car, I was not expecting. That's the P3 car. Nobody really around him. I was not expecting him to take 2. He actually took the line away from Cohen Kloppman, of all things, and then Cohen actually heads up. He moved out of the way, and then unfortunately just bowled right into the rear end of Eduardo Prado, and I believe Prado managed to continue before, no, that'll be after Nick Thiessen in the other GT2 car.
Matos actually did hit the driver of Cohen Kloppman as well. We saw that on the replay. That would have been both of your GT2 drivers out front, out of this event almost. But well, Prado now down into P number 4. He is not going to be happy with that one.
No, not at all. I mean, how could you be happy with that? I mean, you've got the car that's position number 3 in your prototype field. Now he's dropped on down. I think he's going to have lost a position, or at least 2, if I can recall correctly. No, actually, he's just lost time to Johan Lapinski. But you've got your leaders in GT2 battle. You try not to disturb the environment you find yourself in when you're a prototype driver, yet well, you've literally managed to botch the race for a couple of other drivers, and that, of course, is never a good thing.
As you can see, some of your GT2 drivers working past our little camera on the exit of turn number 16. Nice little angle here as it gets out on the racetrack. You can see the diversity of cars right now as GT1 are being passed by prototypes as they try and make themselves a way past themselves from GT2 machines. This one now is second behind Kloppman for the race lead. Like this one has got Sheeta right on his rear spoiler. Well, Cam, it seems to be that now Thiessen smells a little bit of blood as well.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, you've had an incident where Cohen Kloppman was involved, and also your current, who was the race leader, Eduardo Prado, and that car looks fairly well off, actually, for being bulleted by the prototype like that. So hopefully he can continue. He only lost about 5 seconds, so if he can continue to get the laps back, he might be making a charge through the this field. But yeah, Nick Thiessen, he sees the car in front. He sees Cohen Kloppman. Kloppman perhaps a little a little shaky from what he had been involved in the lap prior, as there's those prototype cars all well through the grass. Diego Comuni as well as Gregory Tansen working their way almost side by side to the prototype field. These prototype field going through the GT2 field, but it's impressive to watch, and it never gets old here at Sebring.
Yeah, and you see Comini there going to try and go around the very long way over the driver of Nick Thyssen in towards that sweeping S-curve. One more time, turn 14, turn 15, turn number 16. These two were aggressive because they had themselves about 2 tenths of a second between each other at that stage on track. To cycle in then, see these guys now just trying to go around Klopman, making it as easy for themselves as possible. Still got more drivers going side by side. That's Gavati versus Roystenhart there. As well, we're going to stay side by side out the corner. The reason why is because they're going to have to split Sheeda in towards turn number 1. They almost ran over the real Sheeda there, Cam.
Almost, and looking through it, they actually managed to squeeze onto the inside of Nick Thyssen as well. So Labonte and Roast and Scar actually make their way through. And for Klopman, well, memories till the lap previous, he gives those prototype cars a bit of a wide berth. As just looking, if you're Carlos Villegas, though, you've got to work your way around these GT2 cars as fast as possible. As it is just a pain to lose this much time sitting behind, as well as Julian Ribelau. Ribelau perhaps looking to capitalize on this.
A couple of people on towards pit road early. Dustin Hickman is in that CMRC.de machine. You've also got Dennis Garisi, really the first of your scheduled pitters here today in your prototype field. Hickman out and away in 22.7 seconds. There's the driver of Dennis Garisi. We're on board of him as he makes his pit stop. Sit there patiently and wait. Last little bit of service now being done for Dennis Garisi. Long service, actually. 40 seconds. Tyres are on that car, filling the last bit of it up now. Surely he'll be away any moment now, and the time is going to be, well, I've kind of given up caring now, I'm not going to lie, on this pit stop. It's a long pit stop for Dennis Garisi. Maybe he's got something far more terminal than that. It's over a minute now for him, as we've got ourselves Johan Lepanese versus Dimitri de Matos. 4 tenths of a second separating those two drivers. Last time by, Lepanese actually almost 1 second faster than the number 13 machine. 2 Club France drivers, nose to tail all of the side of the cam.
Yes, and of course Dimitri was the one that was involved in the lead GT2 incident, but he seems to have recovered fairly well. He's still hitting his marks. He's about 8 tenths of a second slower than Les Benisi, as they are now working their way through. Coming into, it will be, as soon as I can find them once again, right into going through 12, heading right into Tower 13. Perhaps Johan this next time by going down the Ullman Straight can catch up. Oh, not with an exit like that. He kicks up a bunch of dirt. And you actually have the third driver of Jawad Karoni, the 22 car. So you've got 3 teammates all front line and center for it'll be 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the prototype division.
Indeed so, there we are. Exit now of turn 16 down that very long back straightaway. Go on board with the driver of Johan Vespanisi in the number 24 machine into Sunset Bend. Now halfway through this motor race, and Vespanisi on towards pit road then. So he's had enough. Pit stops, it's going to get very busy right about now, Cam. Lots of drivers going to come in. Labate, Derek and Carl have already pitted in this one. Brokeman has already pitted from GT1, as has Dustin Hickman. Leonardo Corti is on the lane now.
Yeah, he's working his way away. 24 seconds was Leonardo Corti's stop, which is about 1 second faster. The Aston Martin crew getting him out. Dustin Hickman, interesting thing to note here, his pit stop was 22.8 seconds compared to the 24 and the 25 second stops of the other previous cars. So Dustin Hickman perhaps lightening that fuel load and hoping to have a decent finish, perhaps in fuel mileage, or some other strategy of some essence. But Leonardo Corti right back into the fire as already traffic looking to be abound. The GT1 field, for those playing at home, is actually your GT1 leader comes into the pit lane, Jürgen Frank.
He does. There he is. GT2 cars on pit road as well. Nick Thiston, Joris Frieden on pit road. Nick Thiston's the second driver that you can see in line right about now. Behind him will come in Joris Frieden and also Michael Thomas. So, about half of your GT2 field pitting at the same time. Jürgen Frank is pitting from your race lead in terms of GT1. Well, we know a couple of pit stop times here already. And that's not a bad one. 24.8 seconds there for the driver of Jürgen Frank. Should come out around some clear traffic. Picks up the pace now. Back out on track he will go. And actually, I will say, for Jürgen Frank, that's pretty much exactly what he wants to see. The GT2 car behind him, clear track ahead.
Absolutely, he can really start to push. Jürgen Frank, he's had the slowest pit stop in all of the GT1 field, but you know what? A safe pit stop is the best way to do it. As Patrick Wolff is on the pits, Marcus Hamilton is in the pits, Dimitri DeMoss is on the pits, Caroni comes into the pits, Walby comes into the pits, Tansen, Comuni. So it seems that lap 22 for the prototypes, going on lap 23, and lap 21 for the GT1 cars seems to be about it for both of these guys. It's a very busy pit lane down here at Sebring.
It is, as Wolff there comes back out behind Marcus Hamilton, because Hamilton hasn't taken tyres. Yeah, I don't think Hamilton's taken tyres there on that car. So Hamilton leads it right now in that number 6 machine. He's trying to be bold, and he wants to try and lead this one from the front. So all of a sudden, Friction Racing go to the top of the timing stands.
Well, it's interesting to me. I mean, I understand we're 46, we're about 40 minutes into this race. We've got about 33 minutes remaining, so it's just a double stint on these tires, but he actually has Carlos Villegas right behind him, surprisingly. I think Villegas came into pits. Has he yet? No, he has not. He's one of 2 cars, as well as Gonzalez, who hasn't pitted. But for Marcus Hamilton, though, I almost wonder, you know, when you start looking at double stinting tires, you look at perhaps how the tire wear goes, but you also look at the track temperatures. We're at almost 80 degrees in the air, 82 on the track. I mean, it's not like it's in the 70s. This is a fairly warm and standard track, so it's going to be fairly interesting to see what happens once Patrick Wolff starts getting heat in his tires and he starts continuing, and as he is about right now about 11 seconds behind, so I just don't know if that 11 seconds is worth it.
Kevin Zingy comes out third place out pit road, gets passed by the driver of Dustin Hickman. Everyone has now pitted from GT1, waiting for one solitary driver in GT2, Eduardo Prado. Let's ride on board of him, see if he comes on towards pit road this time by. That limiter, 44 miles an hour here at Sebring International Raceway. He will pull into his stall past the Charles Weibau car. He'll actually pull up some smoke as he's pulling away, but Eduardo Prado, he's giving that service. Where is the rest of the GT1 field? Well, car number 9, which is Cohen Klopman, is just turning around Sunset Bend. Not quite sure if that's the strategy that was going to work. We'll see where he comes out, Eduardo Prado does, but he's got on the throttle, he's golfing away. I'm not quite sure. I think Klopman's going to get past. well, the pit stop times within 1/10 of a second of each other. It's going to be very, very close. And yeah, he's been passed already, actually. Klotman easily passed. In fact, we'll be looking towards Sheeder now. See where these two are going to come out. And Friday will come out ahead of Sheeder, but not by much.
Which is actually fairly impressive, seeing as when he pitted, he was behind Maximilian Scheide, as well as Nick Thyssen, actually. So Eduardo Prado, I mean, that was a fairly quick pit stop, and he's actually ahead of both Maximilian Scheide and Nick Thyssen.
Comeback time if you're Eduardo Prado. 30 minutes then remaining here in ProtoGT this evening. Going to step aside for a quick moment, take your Racesport TV side by side. Back with more after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Sebring as we continue with 27 minutes to go in this evening's event. Having a look through. Dimitri De Matos versus Gregory Tanton, your closest battle on track so far here, Cam. P5, P6 in your prototype.
Shouldn't be of any super surprise right now, as you've got, well, you've also got Dimitri De Matos there as well following along. But yeah, between Gregory Townsend, actually these JCL prototype cars, they're quite populous here in this split, as there's 3 of them in total, and pretty much all of them are involved in the battles. I mean, DeMatos, he actually has about maybe 7/10 of a second faster than Gregory Tansen that last time by. And he is making up a space hand over fist. That red pinstriped JCL prototype car is chasing down that Tansen piloted one, that MSP driver's home prototype with quite due haste, actually. I'm almost surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he catches him by a tower turn.
Let's have a look. Go back on board of him. Not quite.
Oh, he's right on the rear bumper, though. They're going through Bishop, and then, oh boy, I can never pronounce turn 15. It's Gentabien or something to that effect, some fancy word before. But then at Le Mans, though, when they come off of Le Mans.
15. There we are.
Turn 15, there you go. Or if it's an American, it's corner A or B or something like that. It's actually, they had to go around Joris Thielen, and that botched both of their lines, and actually Dimitri almost rear-ended the number 10 car, but that would have been 2 for the day, but actually they both managed to corral both of their prototype cars, and now Dimitri, he didn't have the line, but he's very close.
Through Sunset Bend they come. Side by side, this is the opportunity now for the Matos. No, but he has to pull back in line. And I was thinking back to what you were talking earlier on about fuel here, Cam. As he goes down to the inside, does the Matos. Brave move. Makes it stick somehow.
And Gregory Tansen giving him a cursory flash of the headlights going through corner number 3 as they go almost coming to the exit. Here they go, going towards Big Bend. They've got Nick Thyssen, the GT2 car, up ahead. So after that, they've got Caroni. Caroni's lap times are much faster, so he should be setting off in a way. But after Nick Thyssen, you've got Maximilian Scheider, and we'll have to see here how they tackle this GT2 traffic, as the GT2 traffic is getting pretty close now. As looking at Cohen Klopman and Eduardo Prado, well, they are trading lap times, but it did go to Klopman that last time by, so you know what? They should be able to, in theory, get them fairly spaced out, but Gregory Tansen, though, managed to pick Nick Thyssen at the completely wrong time, not only once or twice or second or 3 times, and actually Nick Thyssen has gotten turned around going into the tower corner number 13. I think Nick Thyssen was expecting that line to be his. Gregory Tansen not too happy that he completely lost an absorbent amount of time to Dimitri DeMatos.
Yeah, see the lights are flashing there for the first drive there, Gregory Tansen. And you just see, just gets held up a little bit once, twice. And, I will say that Thyssen did push him in a little bit there. I almost think that Thyssen was just expecting him to cut to the left, to driver's left, but we've seen all day long prototypes clipping that grass. Comuni actually comes to mind, but I think Thyssen was just anticipating that prototype to shift maybe to the other side or completely give him the line, and perhaps maybe a little bit of that right front damage. He's had to take a wider apex or something to that effect, but yeah, that was a bit of a miscommunication between the GT2 car and the prototype. Diego coming in now right behind Gregory Tansen in your battle for the 6th in prototypes. They go around the long way on a GT2 car. That's easy. Into the hairpin. No change of position right now. No change of position in GT1. Even that. Really close battles the outlaws going on are in prototype right now, Cam.
Yeah, and actually looking at Gregory Tansen after that incident, he is now being pursued by Diego Comuni. Comuni is very, very close as they are sitting perched behind the rear end of Charles Weibau as they're working their way past the driver from France. As Diego Comuni, he's hustled and bustled his way up through here now. He started in 9th, he's up to 7th, looking at perhaps 6th as they go around Cohen Klopman, and they make that look fairly easy and straightforward. Klopman, he took a little bit more curb than I'm sure he wanted to, but you know what? He still has the car all together. That's what's important. I wonder if Comuni in that Team GT prototype might be getting by this time.
Only one way to find out. There we are on board the Continent right now.
Much faster.
Yeah, and this was going to be really back to the point we were talking about earlier. Sebring's one of these tracks a bit like Spa Cam, when you do have two big choices to make on downforce, high or medium. Cummings going to get much better run. That's going 3 wide out of the final corner towards turn number 1. No, not going to happen. There is the straight line speed there for the driver of Gregory Tanson.
It's almost a 5-mile-an-hour difference, which is surprisingly huge. Normally you'll see maybe a 2 to 3 mile an hour flip between the aerodynamic packages, but it just is not in the cards for that Team GT car. Looking like it's a very heavy downforce car, and I'm very surprised, actually. I don't think we normally see that.
You don't. And that's going to make an impact, even if Tanson makes a mistake and Cummings slips by. If it's this close the other way around, well, Cummings is going to lose the place once again. On board Tanson. From the rear to Diego. And well, this battle doesn't look to be going away anytime soon. Leonard Raha versus Xavier Sanchez also going on cam. Further back, P12, P13 in class. I think cam's going to be like that, so okay. In the meanwhile, where a bit smoke there coming out. Fredo, last time by 201.5, 1.3 seconds faster than Cohen Brutman. He's not given up yet. That's Fredo. We'll go on board of him. Through 12, through 13. Sweeping right for 14, then 15. Coming on up and well. Cam. P1, P2 in GT2. We might get something in the last 10 minutes if traffic continues to go Fredo's way and get 1 second closer.
Now it looks like Julian Ribelau is going to be going to the inside, so that's going to be an easy prototype to let on by for Eduardo Prado. He doesn't have to worry so much anymore. Looking back, I mean, he's going to be looking a little bit hazardous in that rear view mirror. I mean, he's going to have the memories of going into corner number 2 and getting a little bit bullered by that prototype in his recent memory. But perhaps I don't think there's any room to excuse or excuse. You've really got to push if you're in that second position car. And here comes Xavier Sanchez. He works his way by that number 11 GT car, that GT2 car. And, well, they seem to be doing fairly well right now.
Oh, God. 7 seconds behind the two of them. Brutman last time by 202.0, 201.6 with Eduardo Prado last time by, continuing to close up, continuing to make that gap just a little bit smaller. Cummings versus Tanson, eats out to about 9 seconds per second. Labate versus driver in the number 33 machine of Chan W. Roasting car. That one is currently about a second going on between those. Wait a minute, Marcus Hamilton versus Patrick Wolff here. We knew this was going to happen at some point. It's happened. Wolff is fast. Hamilton is slow because of tyres. Look at that last time by. 1 second faster with Wolff over Hamilton. It's going to be a waiting game. Is the time going to happen now? From the rear of Marcus Hamilton. Well, Wolff, all of a sudden, this is almost going to be a case of when, not if, can.
Yeah, I mean, for Wolff, if he's able to go about 1 full second a lap faster than that Friction Racing prototype, I mean, there was no risk in doing it. I mean, he qualified in second. Marcus Hamilton was safely in second. He didn't have to worry about the cars behind, so you might as well try to take the fight to Patrick Wolff. See, maybe perhaps you can catch out traffic, maybe fight your way through, but it doesn't look like they're going to have much of a chance here. They've only going to have Charles Weibau going through corner number 14 and 15, but that really shouldn't be too much of an issue. They're going to catch him actually almost through Le Mans, on the exit of Le Mans, so they're actually not even going to have that, and I think perhaps Patrick Wolff is going to be able to suck to the underside, that rear diffuser of Marcus Hamilton's prototype car, and he might be able to swing right on by unless that Friction Racing prototype is set for speed. He leans way to the inside on the double yellow. A little bit of a serpentine going on with drafting. That's fairly normal. It's not defensive blocking. He's just moving the air wake. And Patrick Wolff far later on the brakes, and I think he's going to get a better exit going on the inside.
Yeah, here we go then, side by side for your own race lead. Let's go 3 wide because there's a little car there, GT2 as well. But Marcus Hamilton is going to have to go round the long way. Will he be able to do so? Through turn number 1 they come. And it's going to be a case of let's stay side by side for the moment as they come down in towards 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hamilton holds on just for a moment. But now, from the rear of Marcus Hamilton as they come down in towards turn number 6, and it looks as though that Hamilton will hold on just for a second. But now comes the hairpin. Now comes an opportunity once again for Patrick Wolff. In the PRT machine, through the hairpin, nothing, not just yet, but as we go on board of Patrick Wolff, well, 15 more minutes of pressure is what Marcus Hamilton will have to take by this rate, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, they've already gone rim-to-rim contact, just barely bumping twice now, once going into corner number 2, once into the exit of the hairpin. Surprised neither of the front wing or the rear diffuser are damaged on either car as they're working their way through. Now, massive dirt storm kicked up from Marcus Hamilton's left side as he dipped them into the dirt, and that might actually allow Patrick Wolff with the traction to go onto the inside line here, going through into corner number 15 once again. Now 16. Marcus Hamilton, I don't necessarily know if for 15 minutes you can keep this up. This is each lap is going to be around here in a boxing match, and I'm just not sure if Marcus Hamilton's tires are going to be able to fight with Patrick Wolff's. I mean, you got, what, a 1:48 lap time? That'll probably be about maybe 11 laps, maybe 12 laps. As Patrick Wolff, he's going to go on the outside. I think he's going to get it.
This time by much better traction on the outside line. They'll go side by side. Maybe, no, they won't. On the exit of Sunset Bend, make Marcus Hamilton down into second place. Move Patrick Wolff back up into first. Through turn number 1. GT2 car just ahead. And they'll both get past. So that's going to help Marcus Hamilton a little bit. The question's going to be, if Patrick Wolff put a lot into his tyres there, well, Hamilton won't have anything to come back with because his tyres are always going to be shot to pieces by the end of this event. But back in GT2, Trado's caught up to rear. Going Clotman once again now, Cam.
And he absolutely has. They're within sparring distance, I guess I could say, as Klotman is getting caught by about a rate of 0.3 of a second a lap. And when you're only, let's see, when you're only not that far away from each other, it's a total of 0.6 of a second, according to my timing. So really, if he continues like this, getting reeling them in, maybe 0.2, maybe 0.3, they certainly have the time here with 13 minutes left at Sebring International to make the fight. And we saw a very nice battle beforehand, but it was spoiled by the prototype cars. As actually looking at Maximilian Scheider, he is dealing with all sorts of different traffic as there's a battle going on for the 23rd position overall. Leonardo Corti going around, David Soranzo in the Corvette. There's the prototype of Andrew Call also involved.
Close. Corti wins out for the moment. And now it's going to be Simrc.de GT1 overtaking Simrc.de GT2. Soranzo right behind on board of him for a couple of corners.
Fine exit from Leonardo Corti. David Soranzo, I don't think he's got anything in it. If he's not careful, Jorgen Walby is going to look to also attack as Maximilian Scheider. And actually, Patrick Wolff is going to arrive on the scene of this, as well as Marcus Hamilton. I did not see that one coming. This is a train of 4 cars that now Patrick Wolff is going to have to try to go through it. And for Marcus Hamilton, well, you really got nothing to lose right now. Maximilian Scheider, of course, who is running in 3rd in GT2. He's the first to go. That's very nice. You want to see that GT2 car. He's relieved to see those prototypes. Going by Marcus Hamilton, going to the inside for the lead through the hairpin corner. Not much that Patrick Wolff could have done, is now they're locked behind Jorgen Walby, the number 25 Aston Martin, the Scandinavian driver, as he's working through the outside. We saw that this was the incident where Nick Thyssen involved, but Patrick Wolff far later on the brakes. He almost makes a little bit of smoke coming through, but for Marcus Hamilton, he's covered that corner well. David Soranzo, he's now here. Patrick Wolff, it looks almost like, I hate to bring Formula One into this, but this almost reminds me of Monaco when it was Mansell versus Senna, where Hamilton, it is fairly obvious that Patrick Wolff's car is farly outperforming Marcus Hamilton's tires right now. It's just finding the edge through, and actually they go almost rim to rim coming through, almost onto the Ullman straight. Who's going to get better exit? Oh, so close.
Oh my word, that is a bold, bold move there. Some fantastic racing between these two. A look more aerial coverage. Hamilton on the left-hand side, Wolf on your right. Wolf should have the line into Sunset Bend. 11 minutes to go. Wolf's got it. But that was a fantastic overtake, actually, by Marcus Hamilton on that last lap. We're going to get ourselves another look.
The GT2 lead right in front.
And as Karen Cotman versus Eduardo Prado, side by side. Not quite for turn number 1. Oh, Prado!
Oh, they made contact.
Right into the rear of Karen Cotman on the exit of turn number 1.
I think what happened there is Klopman had his line, and he had to shimmy his way out. He wasn't too sure about those prototype cars of Patrick Wolff and Marcus Hamilton. Once he kicked out Eduardo Prado, he tried to keep as much speed as he had, but ultimately Klopman took the line away, and I think he just kind of bumped the rear, and he had to save it, putting it on as much to the exit. The very edge of the envelope that GT2 car could have gone, and now he's got GT1 traffic to deal with, Prado does. So perhaps Klopman can use this to just run away with it.
Yeah, there's a replay there for Eduardo Prado. Let's go back a little bit from there and show you what happened with Marcus Hamilton getting himself that pass a lap ago at the hairpin. It was all for nothing in the end. Number 14, Pure Racing Team car of Patrick Wolff was boxed in, allowed Marcus Hamilton to go past. If it was only for half a lap, it doesn't matter. Prado back to 3.1 back now from Cohen Klopman. Looks as though that battle's going to be over for the day, unless Cohen Klopman gets himself a huge amount of traffic in the latter stages now.
And I don't think in the next 9 minutes and 30 seconds that Patrick Wolff is going to be having any more bouts of dealing with traffic. And Marcus Hamilton, he has definitely used up his tires. Like I said, watching Patrick Wolff shift left and then right and then left again so quickly under braking really shows just how much those tires were worn on Marcus Hamilton's prototype, or perhaps even just overheated. Perhaps they were overcycled. But right now, just as well for Eduardo Prado, I mean, how many more times do you really want to challenge that fate? I mean, this is probably the second or third time that there's been contact with that car. Really, a lot of it's been his fault. Yes, he did nip the rear of Cohen Klopman, who's dealing with his GT1 traffic, but that was understandable. That, to me, was racing. But how many more times do you want to tempt fate as that GT2 car? Well, the lap times are obviously suffering, but it's been a fairly astounding battle here in the ProtoGT series at Sebring.
Yeah, that's been. We've still got more to go, though. Jan Waston car versus Leonard Rahat. 4/10 of a second on board with Leonard. Towards turn number 1, they come again. 3/10 of a second last time by. Well, Leonard was a full, get this, 1.5 seconds faster. And it looks as though that Rahat took tyres. And Roston car didn't, Cam.
Yeah, as they're just, well, you're just trying to work your way through the traffic and trying to pin your way through here. As just looking right now, Prado has got another one of those JCL prototypes to his inside, as the other one, Lapinasi, he is going through Saranzo right now and then clutching the rear end of Walby. As he's trying to work his way through. And actually, you have to remember, you've got that battle between Corti and Walby as well. So it's fairly surprising here how much action we are looking at here in the closing stages of this Sebring race. And, well, it's going to be Aston Martin versus Aston Martin if things keep going this way. Here comes prototype car looking. Oh, I thought he was going to go for it twice. I thought Joad Caroni was going to go for it. Actually, oh, they clip him. Oh, the number 2 Aston Martin going off. Yeah, that's some RC.DE car. Oh. Yes, please. Great save from the recording. Yeah, he had about maybe a quarter of a second and maybe about 15 feet before his front tires would have hit into the grass and effectively would not be able to do anything, and he used that to completely countersteer and start rolling the car. And he actually managed to really save that car, and it's not worse for wear. It's just a matter of the frustrations with less than 8 minutes to go in the motor race that you've had that contact, and now you've lost your opportunity to make that position. You've lost 2 positions in the closing stages. Never too happy about that, I have to say. But that is multi-class racing. Of course, you always wish that the prototypes be a little bit more patient, but you know what? It is super tight through that very first section. Absolutely, Maximilian working very hard right now as actually Eduardo Prado, a 2:04. So perhaps some issues somewhere along the line, but Klopman, he ran a 2:01.8, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. But right now, prototype traffic working their way through GT2. I know, surprise, surprise, this is a fairly dangerous area for prototype cars. Well, I would have to say the second most dangerous area. Of course, the first most being that first sector, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But right now, they're going through Cunningham right now. There goes Diego Comuni. And here comes the other car of Carlos Villegas, as these 2 cars are fighting for position, though, the Team GT and the other prototype. And now that's allowed Maximilian Scheider to catch right on up to Eduardo Prado. And then you've also got Leonard Rart, who's in 9th. He's looking to probably get by. He should. This is going to be fairly scary going through. He's on the headlights, but I just don't know how his speed's going to go. Is actually, there we go. I was expecting Maximilian Scheider to do that. He needs to be able to take those lines. The prototype car, obviously with the aerodynamics, is able to go on through, and he gives the prototype a little bit of a flash and saying, hey, what do you expect me to do here? It's a GT2 car.
Yeah. Onto the back straight away. Let's listen in. Even Stevens in towards Sunset Bend. 3 minutes to go. And if Sunday taught us anything, we know anything can happen. Just 3 minutes to go. In towards turn number 1. For what will be their second to last time, third to last time maybe, for these guys, because there is Patrick Wolf right now towards the end of the lap. So you can have 2 more goes for your race leader this time by some of these guys like Prado and Sheeta will probably get to do 2.5 more laps from here, Cam.
Yeah, perhaps. I'm not quite sure if Wolf will be able to catch up or not. Perhaps. I mean, he's looking maybe a 40-second, it's actually about 12-second a lap difference. They're running 1:48s. These guys are running 2s. As Maximilian Scheider, he had to give that to Carlo Labate, as Labate has made his way through. But he has, to be fair, he has equally slowed up both cars. So I guess in the grand rule of things, they actually worked out fairly well. But these prototype cars, these guys get really close, and the prototype car always seems to get involved. Not that far behind, though. You've got, looking behind Scheider, you've got the 29 of Julian Ribelau, you've got Xavier Sanchez, and then you've got Ronnie Durig. These are three cars that are fighting for position, so you could bet your bippy that if they have the opportunity to make an attack, courtesy of what the GT2 traffic, you can be assured of that.
As we're down to about a minute to go in this event, there is Patrick Wolf then. The white flag will be out for him the next time he crosses the start-finish line. We go on board of him for just one moment. The battle between Fredo and Shida. Keep an eye out on this one. Patrick Wolf now down into towards Le Mans corner for the second to last time in this event. So actually we have got a battle going on in prototype. This is another case, I think, of maybe tyres or fuel, maybe more being an issue on this one. David Caroni in P number 4. Johan Lebanese is in third place. For the gap, it's a situation of a second a lap there for David Caroni versus Johan Lebanese. These two are teammates, Cam, so we're expecting maybe a little bit more respect between these two, a little bit less on the aggressive side.
Well, you never know. These two guys could be inter-team rivals. I doubt that highly. These guys should be able to have a fair duel, and of course enjoying watching the duels as always in the prototype field. Not quite sure what traffic lays ahead for these guys, but I can't be too dramatic now. I think everyone's fairly split apart. A couple of other battles that I'm noticing right now is Leonard Rart has actually not only caught, but he is attacking Carlos Villegas. He had a 2-second, or almost about a second and a half faster that last time by Carlos Villegas, and now he's going to the inside. Rart going for position number 8.
Yep, and he's going to make that one easy in the Pure Racing Team machine on the last lap of this event. So there is Leonard Rart. Update, by the way, and actually Shida just going to lose a little bit of time as he was negotiating a little bit of prototype traffic into the one corner. That's going to cost him 0.2 of a second, effectively ending that battle between those drivers. Where is Patrick Wolf? There is Patrick Wolf. Turn 14, turn 15 then for the final time here. Out of Le Mans corner for the final time is the driver of Patrick Wolf. In towards Sunset Bend he will come. Quadruple zeros on top of the timing stand, and that means Patrick Wolf will come out of the final corner, number 14. Pure Racing Team car will win out here in ProtoGT this afternoon. Does so by about 5.2 seconds over Marcus Hamilton. Jürgen Frank takes victory and the spoils in terms of your GT1 field. It's the SimRC.de12 in GT1. Kevin Siggy coming home third place in class. Karen Quatman got a long way to go, but he leads the way in terms of your GT2 field. Eduardo Prado, Matsuno and Shida, 7/7 of a second separating those drivers. As Johan Lebanese able then to come home in fourth place as David Corradi
doing a formation finish.
There we are.
Yeah, they're doing like a formation finish to come across the start-finish line. That is a very interesting strategy.
As they work themselves past the start-finish line. There we are. Behind, we've got ourselves Gregory Thompson and Diego Comini there, finishing it off in your prototype field. Now let's go back to have a look at your GT2 field with the Manai machine of Karen Klotman on board of him. Last corner. Sunset Bend for Karen Klotman to take GT2 spoils here this evening. One more turn. Karen Klotman wins in GT2. He'll win out by about 5 seconds when all is said and done. There you can see him And there you can see the battle for second place and third place. Eduardo Prado coming home in second. Maximilian Machida there coming home in third. Nick Thyssen is somewhere. We'll find him eventually. But Nick Thyssen's going to come home fourth place. Joris Phelan there will finish home in the fifth place in GT2. So let's run you through your final race results here from Sebring here this evening. Patrick Wolf wins by 6.8 seconds over Marcus Hamilton overall in your prototype field, of course. David Caroni in third. Dimitri Dematos even in fourth. Dematos coming home in fourth. Johan Lespanese coming home in fifth. Diego Comini in sixth. Bennett Raha in seventh. Toguri Tanton in eighth. Jan Rostenkart in ninth. And Carlo Abatti rounding out your top 10. 17 drivers finishing it off in your prototype field. There are the remainder of them. Over to GT1. Jürgen Frank wins out by 7 seconds over Dustin Hickman. Kevin Siggy in third. Rens Brokeman in the fourth position. Brokeman finishing after some horrid luck as of late. Just 9 drivers in GT1 and then into GT2. Karen Klopman wins by 3.4 seconds over Eduardo Prado. Prado 1.2 ahead of Maximilian Machida there. Nick Thyssen coming home in fourth place. Remainder of your G2 results up on screen. Yes, thank you. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is ProtoGT in the books for another week here on Racesport TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. We will, as ever, be back. Same time, same place, in 1 week's time, as we get ourselves closer to the end of the championship. This was round number 9. Next time out, we head ourselves to the Nürburgring, as we'll take part in round number 10 of the championship. Just 3 rounds to go. Nürburgring, Daytona, and Watkins Glen International. This has been a Racesport TV presentation. Wednesday night primetime, ProtoGT. Wilbinson, Cam Walsh will talk to you all next time. Good night. Cheers, Cam.